Hello, and welcome to Verbling. I'm teacher Oakley, and in this class, we will continue our series, five-part series at this specific time slot here on verbling.com for 5 consecutive days. Today's class 2 of our series on IELTS speaking and the IELTS speaking exam. In today's class, we're going to focus on task 1, part 1 of the speaking test. This is the conversation part of the test. You will be asked some basic questions about, well, your life, your preferences, your likes and dislikes. You'll be asked to describe some basic things and answer questions about your lifestyle. These questions, the topics are wide-ranging, but things like talking about children, animals, music, any of the arts, really, your work, your studies, really, it could be anything. Is usually very normal topics that we're used to. I mean, normally we would talk about TV, movies, things like that, cell phones. Sometimes as diverse and specific as things like flowers and trees and birds and magazines. So there are literally hundreds of different possible topics. But in any case, the questions will be pretty straightforward and basic. Today, we're going to be practicing answering. We're going to just straight up practice. I'm going to show you a few tips, hopefully take maybe 5 to 10 minutes, and then we'll jump into just straight up practice, and I'll give you guys feedback. Feedback obviously related to the IELTS scoring and how they score your English speaking. So let's get started. Let me say hello and check your microphones, and we'll get going. Hello, Jean. Jean?
Jean.
Jean.
Hello, good morning.
Hi, Jean. I'm good. Where are you from, Jean?
I'm from Mexico.
Oh, cool. All right, Jean. Nice to meet you. Welcome
nice
to the class.
You. Thank you.
Cool. All right. And David is here. Hey, David. Long time.
Hi, how are you?
Good. Good to see you again.
Me too.
Yeah, cool. Welcome. Okay, Gabrielle is also here. Hi, Gabrielle.
Hi, hi.
Hi, hi.
Good morning.
Morning. Really? Morning. Morning to you. It's 9 o'clock in the evening where I am, Gabriel.
Okay, it's not. It's 10 o'clock here in Brazil.
Yeah. I'm an American, but I'm living in the Philippines now, so it's.
Oh, great.
It's getting late. All right, and Camila is with us. Hi, Camila.
Hi, how are you?
I'm fine. How are you doing?
I'm fine, thank you.
Great. Where you live, Camila?
In Colombia, Bogotá.
Bogotá. Okay. Cool. All right, guys. Look, I'm just going to screen share and talk to you for a minute, maybe take 5 minutes of your time to give you an idea of what you need to be doing in tonight's IELTS practice class. Okay, take a gander here. Take a look here. Typical now, I asked a couple of you guys, where are you from? Guess what? In the IELTS Part 1, they're basically always going to ask you, after they ask for your name, you do a basic introduction. Don't worry about that part. It's not really scored. They'll ask for your ID to make sure you are who you say you are. And then the actual test starts when they say, where are you from, or some variation of that. Tell me about your hometown. Tell me about where you live. Something like that is always the first question. So you can prepare for it. One cautionary note here. If you're actually taking the IELTS test, if you just absolutely memorize what you're going to say because you know this is the first question, they will listen to you for about 5 seconds and they'll say, okay, stop. And they'll go on to the next question. If you sound memorized, they won't let you do your thing. If you make it sound natural, they'll let you talk. I'll say, okay, so keep that in mind when preparing for the exam. You've got to sound natural, like a natural native speaker talking to you in the airport about where you live. All right? I want to share with you something to kind of give you an idea of what IELTS is looking for in this part. Well, actually, no, in the entire test. This may be an example answer to where you're from. I come from Beijing. I'm a native of the city. Beijing is the capital of China. In Beijing, there are many historical buildings. Beijing duck is very famous. I always eat it with my friends. Okay. All right. The IELTS scoring ranges from a band score of 9, 8.5, 8, 7.57, down to 0. Nobody gets 0, but in any case, it ranges up. 9 is maximum, and it goes down by 0.5 points to get your final score. Okay, what? Just out of curiosity, see how much you guys know. What do you think, Jean? What do you think this response would score?
I don't know, like 6.
You think? All right, David. What do you want to give it?
Probably. Well, I don't know the standard, so I cannot tell you. But I guess
Good answer.
yeah, but it could be. I mean, it's. I don't know. I'm sorry, I can't tell. But maybe it's in between 5 and 6. So, yeah.
You know what? That was the best answer. I can't tell because I don't know the scoring. That is
Right.
key. You're absolutely 100% correct. But okay, we know you don't know the scoring, but yeah, just real quick, Gabriel, what do you want to score it?
I think it's a good answer, and I would give an 8.
You would. Okay. Get Camila. Camila, are you there? Camila? Yeah. What do you think? Camila, guess what? I can't hear you. So I think you may have a connection problem. Camila, either, well, it's probably not your settings because I could hear you earlier. You're probably going to have to drop out of the class and just come back in, okay? Hopefully you'll get reconnected. All right, guess what, guys? You know what? This answer is probably going to be about a 4 to 5, depending on the pronunciation and intonation. This answer, if I can be so bold, this answer kind of sucks. Why does this answer suck? Well, because of, as David said, he doesn't know the criteria. It's not about speaking good English. It really isn't. You can speak perfect English in short, little, simple, perfect sentences, and you can get a really bad score on this exam. Why is this bad? Well, let's take a look here. Okay, look, it's bad because the answer is short and direct. It does not contain any linking words or phrases. Linking words or phrases, things like saying, well, the first thing I should probably tell you about my city is blah, 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 blah. For example, blah, 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 blah. However, blah, 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 blah. Another really kind of interesting point I'd like to share is blah, 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 blah. These kinds of linking words, transitionals, and connectives are absolutely essential to your performance on this exam. I cannot really stress it enough. It's of utmost importance because not only does it affect your organization or cohesion, which is one area of scoring, by using a variety of these linking words and phrases, you show vocabulary range. Also, by using these phrases, you create complex sentences, which raises your score in grammar. And when you tend to use these phrases, you have to use intonation and stress highlighting changes, which raises the fourth area of scoring, which is pronunciation, intonation, and stress. Probably the most important bullet point that I'm sharing with you now is this one here. It doesn't contain redundant language. In English language, natural speakers repeat things in a different way to clarify. Clarifications. What I mean by that is it's kind of like, it's sort of blah, blah, blah. This kind of thing is good. A direct answer is not what they're looking for. The whole point is they're looking for you to sound like a normal English speaker speaking normally. And we do this. We introduce things we're going to say with linking words. We repeat ourselves to clarify information. It's normal. You're shooting for normal. You're not shooting for a good answer. There are no good answers. That doesn't exist. It's how you speak English, not what you say. It's how you say it. No really uncommon vocabulary, no idiomatic language. The grammar's correct, but again, no complex sentence structures, pretty much staying in the same verb tense. It stinks. Okay, now let's consider. Take a look here. What would be a better answer? Okay. All right. Now, I'm just going to go ahead and read this to you. And as well, try to demonstrate intonation and stress as used by a natural speaker. If you're very nervous and you sit there and you talk like this, you are probably not going to get a good score, and you're sitting on your hands and your hands are all sweaty because you're so nervous and you're just talking like this. You should be speaking like you're sitting at the airport bar and you have already had 2 margaritas. Well, as you can probably guess, I come from Beijing and I've lived here all my life. Although, at the moment, I'm studying in another city, Tianjin. I suppose if I had to describe Beijing, the first thing I would have to say is that it is absolutely enormous. Maybe even one of the biggest cities in Asia, I guess. It's so big, in fact, that even locals have problems finding their way around the place. Another significant characteristic is that it offers examples of both classical and contemporary architecture. Actually, some of China's most renowned landmarks are slap bang in the middle of Beijing. This, Gabriel, is your 8 or 9 answer. At least 7.5, and again, depending on your intonation, your use of pauses and linking and pronunciation features, this could be a 9. All right. I hope that you all can see the difference between these 2 examples I have shared with you and how they are very different. This has all those things that the first one did not. All right. Enough said. Now you know. Let's give it a shot. The first 2 questions are always the same. All right. Jean, you've already seen a good example, so I'll make it easy for you. Make you go first, but I'll make it easy. Jean, buddy, where are you from?
I'm from a little town in Mexico called Jalapa, Veracruz. This small town is recognized in Mexico because they is a town made from students. A lot of people come to this town to study the university. For this reason, the economy around Jalapa is is targeted in the students. Another some fact that maybe nobody knows and is that Jalapa is from the jalapeno chilies come, and this is funny because even the jalapeno chilies doesn't grow there. They take the name because the first factory where they canned the jalapenos were in Jalapa. Actually, the chilies are growing in a state next to Jalapa called Puebla. But it's something that maybe nobody knows, but Jalapa is a town, and the jalapenos the pepper takes the name from this town.
Okay. Jean? Okay, a little herky-jerky in your rhythm and in delivery, which is one aspect. I love the fact that Jean told a story about his town. If you really want to do well in this exam, you need to give detail, provide detail. A basic tip. I know you're nervous and there's too much to think of when you're taking the exam. Try to remember to talk about two aspects of the town, two different things about the town, or every question, really, in the entire exam, every single question. Try to think about two things. Either divide the question and talk about comparison. Well, on one hand this, on the other hand this. It depends. Sometimes I do this, sometimes I do that. Okay, well, I don't know. Men like this, women like that. This forces your brain to talk about two things, whether you want to or not. Okay? Or whatever. Talking about your town, it doesn't matter what you talk about, as long as it's related to your town. All right? I loved that you told a story. That is the best strategy possible, because you know about these things, so it's easy for you to talk about. It's specific, which means you can give detailed vocabulary, detailed information, which means you're naturally, without thinking, going to be able to provide the scorer what he needs. Okay. All right. Again, a little jerky. You started and stopped in a different. You self-corrected and started in a different way. You got to be a little smoother, of course. Little problem with prepositions. You might want to study up on prepositions, Jean.
Absolutely.
Targeted in students. It should be targeted towards students. Targeted to students. Things like that. Okay. You said some fact people don't know, which I like. People don't know. I like that part, but should be a fact, or whenever possible, use an adjective, and if you can, use an adverb for an adjective. So an interesting fact that people don't know, things like that, and don't be shy about using adverbs or adverb phrases like kind of and quite and sort of and a little bit. All right, really, it's really kind of crazy, whatever. Lay it on thick. The whole problem, the challenge with the IELTS exam is the entire test lasts 13 minutes. You have 13 minutes. If you're an artist, it would be like saying you have 13 minutes to do everything you know how to do. That means you have to use every color you can possibly use, every style of painting, use oils and watercolors and everything you have to do in 13 minutes. That's your challenge. It's all about variety, doing everything you can do in English. So to do that without having your brain explode in the middle of the exam, make it easier on yourself and just try to remember, okay, try to think of stories in my own experience as you're brainstorming. Just try to think of 2 things to talk about. So you naturally do it. Give the detail. All right? That was pretty good, though. And by the way, that was interesting. You just taught me something I did not know. Thank you, Jean.
No, thank you for your
I
feedback.
I love jalapenos, by the way. I'm a big fan, big fan. Okay, Wilson's joined us. Hi, hey there, Wilson.
Hi everybody.
Hi. Okay, hang on there, Wilson. You'll get your chance. We're just gonna go around and practice here. David, you're up next. The first question is always where you're from. The second question is, David, do you work or do you study?
Well, if you ask me if I work or study, I would say that I do both things. I work. I have a full-time job. I like my job. I'm an educator. But I also study. I like languages. Now I'm studying French, and in fact, next summer I'm going to go to Quebec so I can practice. I can immerse myself in the French language. I always thought that French was very fascinating. The pronunciation is very difficult, but at the same time it's very beautiful, sensual, captivating. That's why I'm studying French. In terms of my job, well, I like teaching. I think it gives me a lot of energy, a lot of potential. My friends always say that I'm a good teacher, so I guess I'm doing, and my kids too. They like my job, so I guess I'm doing a good job. Yeah, both.
Okay.
I'm doing both things.
Okay. All right. I loved the delivery. Very, very natural native speaker. He thought of something and he speeded up and raised his pitch. And my kids do too. Yeah. And yeah, so yeah, I do both things. That's very natural English speaking. That's how native speakers speak. That's what they want to hear. I love the listing of adjectives: beautiful, sensual, and captivating. Yeah, that's like check, check, check. You're just, the IELTS scorers would just be going, yeah. That's good stuff. Immerse yourself in the culture. It has to do with education and language learning. That's topic-related vocabulary and quite sophisticated topic-related vocabulary. Good. Using some linking phrases like in fact. Very good. The pauses were he paused sometimes between sentences, but very natural. Not too long, very natural pauses. That's like really high level pronunciation features scoring category. If pausing is bad overall, if you're pausing and it's obvious you don't know what to say. Pausing for dramatic effect, however, is extremely good. And that was clearly pausing for effect of speaking, not because you didn't know what to say or you couldn't think of a word or grammar structure. Very good. One tiny problem, and believe me, this is a minuscule problem overall. That was an excellent score, probably 8.5. Small problem, David, there. I find French fascinated. It should be fascinating, ing.
Fascinating, yeah.
Yeah, it is fascinating. I am fascinated. Right. You got it. Okay, cool. Where are you going? You going to Montreal?
Quebec.
Quebec City?
Yeah. You know, they speak French over there, so I'm going there.
Très bien.
Merci beaucoup.
Yeah. Okay. I grew up in America, but just like 10 minutes south of Quebec.
Are you serious?
Yeah. Mais oui.
Do you speak French? Vous parlez français?
Un petit.
Un peu.
Un peu. Yeah, it's been a long time. I learned French when I was like 10, 11, 12 years old.
Wow. So it still is there, but it's like a back. It's back in your need to bring it forward.
I remember some really weird things. Quelle heure est-il la température à la banque? Why?
Very
Why
good,
do I
very good.
remember? What is the temperature at the bank? I don't know why. I remember these weird, stupid things. How much is the candy? Dumb things. Okay. Anyway. All right. Thank you, David. That
Thank
was
you.
nice. A nice example. Gabriel, I'm sorry you have to follow that because that was pretty darn good. All right.
Great.
Okay. Great. Yeah, Gabriel's really excited. Oh, great. Okay, Gabriel. All right. Okay. All right. Let's try a basic description. Basic description. Okay. No, let's not. Basic description, like just tell me about your town, or when they ask you about where do you live, do you work or do you study? Even though that seems to be a closed-ended question, I work or I study. It's not, and David broke it into two things, so he had plenty to talk about. All right. Another very typical part one question are likes and preferences. So, Gabriel, I want to talk to you about the weather a little bit. What is your favorite time of the year?
Well, my favorite time of the year is the summer. Summer is a pleasant season for me because I can ride outside my home. I can ride with my family, with my daughter, and play some sports outside. However, it's very warm, and we here in Brazil, particularly, we sweat a lot at street. Yeah, and but it's a very pleasant season.
Okay. Okay. Go out with your daughter. That's kind of a weird way to break it down, Gabriel. Activities you do, and then your other thing was we sweat a lot. Okay. Sweat, by the way. Pronunciation, sweat. All right. Same sound in pleasant. Sweat, pleasant. Okay. Okay. Very good thing I haven't mentioned yet. I've forgotten to mention so far. Very good. Gabriel, you paraphrase the question. This is important. Very important. You have to show that you know how and when to paraphrase. So the question is, what is your favorite time of the year? Very simple paraphrase. This wasn't too, elaborate, but my favorite time of year is the summer, period. Okay, this is important. Answer the question, paraphrase the question, put a period in it. Don't make your first sentence, oh, I like summer because blah, 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 blah. You're mixing in your supporting reasons with your opinion or your first introductory sentence. So how you did it is the correct way to do it. All right? You see? I think you missed an object noun. I don't know. You said, I like to ride with my daughter. Ride what? Horses? Motorcycles? Bicycles? Skateboards? Surfboards? What do you ride?
Yeah, it's like when you go to the street and walk, it's riding. It's just have a ride.
What you say? Oh, you like take a drive?
Not by car, by walking.
Oh, okay. Jogging, Wilson?
Yeah,
What was
like
that?
jogging.
Oh, okay. Well, that's cool. It's cool because I just learned something. I learned what you call it in Brazil, but of course, a native speaker, for me, that was very confusing, and I'm sure that would confuse an IELTS scorer too.
Okay.
Okay, we'd say take a. No, better ways. Okay. How would be the best way to say that? I enjoy taking a stroll with my daughters, meandering around, walking around the park. Okay. Going for a long, kind of pointless walks around the city. That's the best way to say it. Things like that, because I'm using more weird, strange vocabulary rather than say I like to take a walk. Okay?
Okay.
You see?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
And so,
that's what
all
I
right.
mean.
All right. Cool. That answer was a little bit short, not quite enough detail. Gabriel, if you can remember what Jean did, he told a little story in there. You know, don't be shy about telling a little story. When you tell a little story, another thing happens. You force yourself, without actively thinking about it, you force yourself to suddenly change verb tense. I like taking a stroll. I like the summer. Present tense, present tense. I can remember one time my daughter and I were walking. I've got a continuous, past continuous tense. Without thinking actively about changing your grammar, you are when you tell a story. You do it automatically, right? You follow me? My daughter and I were walking. We found this really cool cafe, and we stopped and had a lemonade, and we had this really long, in-depth discussion about her life, and it was really, I think, one of the most important points in our relationship that I ever experienced. Did you hear all that garbage I just spoke, Gabriel? I made all that up. I don't know you. I don't know if you and your daughter had lemonade while you were taking a walk. Make stuff up. Make stuff. Sorry. Make stuff up. Make things up to tell a story if you have to. Doesn't matter. Nobody's going to fact check you. No one's going to sneak around your house and send in spies to see if you were telling the truth when you take the IELTS exam, all right? Go ahead. Make things up if you have to, but there you go. I would say your effort was, it's very hard to tell. You have to understand this. I'm trying to give you feedback and maybe some score estimates, but it's really an estimate because the entire test is more, the whole test is scored. They don't have a score for each question. It doesn't work that way. It couldn't, because there's different elements they want to hear through the body of your entire exam. But that was seems to me that was kind of on the level of maybe a 6.5. You could go up, you could go down. You could go quite far up, but vaguely 6.5, maybe 7. All right.
Okay.
All right. You could do better. More detail would be better. Okay, Wilson. Thank you.
Let's try.
Let's try. Why not? Okay. All right. All right. Specific description. Sometimes they'll hit you with this kind of thing. I'm talking about your town there, Wilson. Let's pretend we're talking about your town. What building is considered famous in your town?
What?
What building is considered
Building.
famous in your town?
Okay. I live in São Paulo. São Paulo, it's in Brazil. It's the biggest city in Brazil, and I think it's in South America, the biggest city. And we have many buildings, interesting buildings, but I think one of the most famous is one building that was designed by the world famous architect Oscar Niemeyer. It's a building that was designed in the years 50s, but it's in a modern concept, okay? Till now, it's a modern building. It is for business, it is for people to live, and it's in the middle of the city, and it's very high. and you can see by the design that it's not a common building, okay? And it's very famous, and we have sightseeing tours and to see this building. We have a lot of postcards to show the design and the details of this building. And I think that's it. It's the name of this building is Copan. It's in the city, in the downtown. It's near the subway station. It's very easy to reach this building. And I think that's it. That's Copan, one of the most famous buildings in São Paulo city.
Okay. Okay. Overall, okay. That was very good. I like the fact that you a couple times uh, used you gave some information, then you said okay, like to confirm. Did I understand? This is good. This is good. This is redundant language. This is confirmation, confirming, understanding, and that's a good thing. You need to be a little wary of repetitive phrasing, repetitive vocabulary, and repetitive phrasing. You know, Wilson, you used it's this, it's that, it's something else over and over again. So you kind of stuck with the same reliable sentence construction. You know what I mean?
Yes, yes, okay.
Yeah, you got to try again. You know, you're that crazy painter trying to paint with every color that has ever been thought of. You know, so you get the idea is try to do some different things. Okay. It is not a bad thing to use like different forms of a word: photographer, photography, photographic, a photo. All right, that's great. That's actually good. Using the different forms of one word, that's a cool thing to do, actually. But try to avoid getting trapped into using the same word over and over, or even it's this, it's that, the same phrasing. All right. Oh, another thing I liked is when he did not hear me, he did not madly close his eyes and plunge forward and just start answering the question. He asked me, excuse me, he asked me to repeat it. What? What was that? Okay, do that. In the IELTS exam, if you're not sure, ask. You cannot lose points for clarifying the question. So if you need to say, excuse me, what did you say? Or if you need to say, do you mean, to clarify meaning, do you mean like movies in the cinema, or do you mean watching movies, any movies? If you want to clarify to make sure you stay on topic, go ahead. It can, theoretically, possibly, help your score. If you ask the question correctly, with the correct intonation, it can help your score. It cannot hurt you. It can't. So that was good. Many people are paranoid. They're afraid of the interviewer, and so they just try to answer the question. Don't. It's not worth it. Make sure you understand the question. If you answer the question and you're way off topic, here's the thing. They assume the worst. They assume you don't know how to organize what you're saying. They assume you don't know the vocabulary and you don't know the grammar structure to talk about that topic. So you get deducted in basically all areas of scoring if you're off topic answering the question. So, good. Couple small problems, Wilson. In the years 50s, that doesn't work. In the 50s, okay? You don't need years there. Okay. In the 50s, that's it. Till now, it's a modern building is a little unclear. Till now, it's still considered a modern building would be much better. Do you understand the difference there?
Yes, yes, I understood.
Okay, one is a little ambiguous and, yeah, could be misunderstood. All right, making a lot of notes here. I need more paper. Okay, Sam has joined us.
And can you give me a grade for that?
Oh yeah, I'm sorry, Wilson. I'm sorry, buddy. Yeah, sure I can. Okay, all right. That was probably lots of good vocabulary. Okay, high ranks in vocabulary. Kind of low ranks in grammar, not because you had really any grammar problems, but you were using very simple sentences. It's this, it's that, it's something else. Kind of didn't use enough. You really need to use things like, one thing I should tell you, another interesting facet of this building construction is, another pretty cool thing is that these kinds of things would have helped you out a lot. So it was, see, here's the thing. It was good English, but it didn't have any of those special things. No idioms, no none of those linking words or phrases. It was too straightforward, and that kind of blah for them, kind of blah, straightforward answer. That's where you get stuck in getting a 6, honestly. Here's the
Okay.
thing. Here's an important point to know. In IELTS, the scoring of all the people who take the IELTS test, it's like a bell curve, okay? It's like this. On these outer edges, only a very few 1% of people get a 9 or even get a 3. Those are kind of the low points, 9 and 3. Well, what's in the middle? 4, 8, 7, 5, 6. A huge amount of people who take this exam get a 6. A huge amount. Really an incredible amount. It's like 60-something% all get a 6. 6, 6.5, 5.5. It's huge. 75% of everyone who takes this test gets a 5.5, a 6, or a 6.5.
And is there a minimal grade for this exam?
Okay.
You pass or just evaluation?
Okay. Let me explain. There is no passing or failing. There is no passing or failing. It completely depends on your target goal based on why you're taking the test. As an example, if you're trying to get a working visa to pick strawberries in Australia, you only need a 5.5. So who cares? You're good. If, on the other hand, on the other end of the spectrum, that's basically the lowest amount that's very helpful. On the other end of the spectrum, if you're trying to get your master's degree at Cambridge University in England, they're going to require that you have an 8.0 minimum in every category: listening, speaking, reading, writing. You see what I mean? It depends. So for the person trying to get a master's at Cambridge, they're going to demand excellence, and if you get a 7.5, you have failed. For the person trying to pick strawberries in Australia, a 5.5, you have passed. You see what I mean?
So they give you a certificate, and then you can, with the certificate, try to apply to something, okay? To be a MBA or something like that. Okay.
Yep, for a university, or many countries require them, Canada and Australia, for a visa, and Great Britain, to get a visa. And it depends what kind of visa: working visa, study visa, and every university has its own specific number, and like Australia and Canada, they have this point to get a visa. They have point. You have to get so many points: your age, your family, what occupation you have, how long have you worked, how much money do you have, and your IELTS score is one of the things. So if you get, a 5.5, you get this many points. But if you get a 7, you get this many points, which can offset lower points in what type of occupation or So then it gets very complicated. What is passing? You know, what do you need? See,
Yes, but for green card, there is no need for this exam to get a green card.
in United States,
Yes.
yeah, of course, United States. United States is a green card. That obviously. Sorry, that was a stupid
But
question. Obviously, no, not to get a green card once you're in. And America doesn't have an IELTS requirement, but most universities require either a TOEFL or an IELTS exam before you can be admitted into a university.
okay, thank you.
You're welcome. But I'll tell you, Canada, Australia, Great Britain, you do, just to get a visa, you do need to pass one of these exams. So it's different. You know, every country has its own rules. All right, Sam. Hi. Sam.
Hello.
Hi. How are you?
Hi. Yes, I'm fine.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay, here's another type of question that you may get. It is a comparison question. Be prepared for this. Sam,
Hmm.
do you think it's better to live in the center of town in a city or outside in the country?
Yes. I would prefer to live outside of the country than city.
Okay.
Hmm.
Oh, you came in the class late, didn't you? Okay. You didn't see our examples to begin with.
Yeah.
Yeah, I gotta add a lot more to that. You gotta, any question they ask you,
Hmm.
you have to basically explain why you're saying
Okay.
that.
In detail,
Yeah,
right?
lots of detail, as much detail
Okay.
as you can muster. In fact, in reality, okay,
Hmm.
I'll let you brainstorm another minute.
Hmm.
Um, Look, they may stop you. The test isn't timed, with the exception of part 2, which you have a minute to prepare and 2 minutes to speak. However, the interlocutor, the interviewer, it depends on the interviewer. He may be stopping you. Okay. Another question. Okay. Repeatedly, which may annoy you. I've had many students who were very annoyed by their interviewer because he kept stopping them. Or you may have another interviewer who will let you kind of just ramble on. You don't know. Here's the thing. You can never lose points by talking too much. The only thing that's going to happen is they're going to stop you. But you will lose massive points by talking very little and just answering the question. Okay, Sam, you weren't here at the beginning of class. Sam's answer was like, this is the only way you can get a 3, is if you just directly answer the question like that.
Okay.
That is the worst possible answer. Other than going, I didn't buy this one, that would be like a 2 or a 1. Okay. Actually, you know what? This is stupid, but a 1 scoring, it actually says this on the scoring rubric, is if you go to the exam but you don't say anything.
Okay.
That's how you get a score of 1.
One.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Okay.
Mhm.
Anyway, okay. If your interviewer keeps stopping you, do not let that alarm you. What that means, really, is that the interviewer has heard, he wants to hear you use a future tense. And he heard you do it, so he stops you. Now he's going to ask you a question. He's going to give you an opportunity to use a conditional sentence. He asks you the question, you answer with a conditional sentence. He'll say, okay, stop. Then he wants to ask you a question. You see what I'm doing? He's asking you questions not because he cares about your answer, but because he's trying to fish for these various elements of English speaking. That's all it means. It means he's getting them. If he keeps stopping you, that means he's getting what he wants, and your score is raising. So it's actually a good thing. It seems annoying and it's very throws you off, but in reality, it's really a good thing. So don't let that freak you out. Okay, Sam, I'm going to let you try this one again. Not
Okay.
outside of the country, by the way. It's outside in the country. Outside of the country would be, you know, you're from Pakistan, you live in Philippines. That's outside of the country. Outside in the country. Okay. Anyway, let's try it again. From the
Okay.
top, would you rather live in a city or in the country?
Okay. I would like to live in country, and the most exciting thing for me, there 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 is peace and no noise and not lot of vehicles, and I can live for without any noise, because I think the country life is much better than city life. Another thing I like in on countryside is get a fresh fruits, and weather and fresh air is compared to city is much better. The countryside, uh, uh, no need to vehicle a lot as compared to the city. The
Okay.
mm, and another thing, I like countryside. You can grow a lot of plants. For example, you can get land and different variety of fruits and vegetables and flowers. Because of I like landscaping a lot, so basically I'm also agriculturist, so I prefer to live in town, in town or countryside as compared to the city.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. All right. Nice collocation. Collocations are gold in the IELTS test. Country life. I prefer country life to city life. These two words together are, this is what IELTS calls common use of style or whatever. But whatever. Collocations, words that go together, phrases that go together. Idiomatic phrases are pure gold. I don't think I heard any of you use any idioms today, but that's how you get an 8 or 9 in reality. You've got to be able to do that. That's in the criteria. Okay, I like country life. I liked another thing is, but the problem is you used it at least 2 times. You should try as much as you can. Again, I know I overemphasize this. I can't help it. It's so important. You've got to use a variety of linking phrases. Another thing is, additionally, in addition, as well, and even longer phrasal ones. You know, another interesting point about living in the city, about living in the country, whatever, doesn't matter. You got to have a variety of these. Okay. I was a little a little confused, Sam, when you started out. You said, "Oh, I find living in the country exciting because I like peace." Eh? I'd like to experience exciting peace. Okay, it was a little bit contrasting and confusing. Be careful of that. I like on countryside, get fruit. Okay, you kind of dropping words. I like in the countryside to get fruit, okay, or getting fruit. Okay, you got to be careful. Sometimes you're missing little connective grammatical constructions. The countryside, no need to. Okay, in the countryside, no need to. In the countryside, there is no need to. Actually, when I do test preparation with students, I can't believe how often I hear students drop the verb to be. They just don't say it. I'm not sure why. Native speakers will sometimes drop subject or object nouns when we think it's really obvious what that subject or object noun is, but we're never going to drop a verb. Never. So be careful of that. Because I like landscaping. No, that's okay. Oh, because is actually good. Don't be shy about using connectors, subordinators like because, however, or using even connecting conjunctions, but, yet, so, and. That all helps. Okay, Sam. Again, like I keep saying, tell a little story. It really helps. If you talk about what you know, at one point, oh, because I like landscaping, that's why I made it. Talk about what you know, what you like, what you do, what you have experienced before. Talk about yourself. One thing to be wary of, you will sometimes hear on the exam very, very general questions. Don't be, that's a trick. That's a trap question. It doesn't matter. Plow forward. Always giving detail. So even if the question seems very stupid in general, like you'll hear dumb questions like, is eating healthy food important? Duh, obviously. You don't know what to say because it's such a general, stupid question. Plow on forward and say, well, I used to have a pretty unhealthy lifestyle and eat lots of, well, I admit it, McDonald's and pizza and that kind of thing. But as I got older and started to put on weight, I realized that, okay, listen to me. I'm telling a story. I'm talking about myself. I'm giving lots of detail. You hear a dumb question like that, do not answer with a dumb general answer. Go ahead and be specific. Okay. One other question that you should be listen carefully. Jean, I'm going to go to Jean now. Sam, that was kind of a not the best. That might be around a level 5. Okay. Gotta be a little more smooth. You need practice. Jean, you ready?
Hello.
For one
Yes, I'm
more
ready.
quick one? Jean, if you had the chance, would you like to live near the ocean?
Choose where you live is a very important thing in your life. If I need to select where I can live, absolutely the ocean will be the best place to live for me. This is because I'm a scuba diver. I love diving. And if I have the chance to select to live near the ocean, absolutely will take the opportunity and live near the ocean. But I know that it's something tricky. Some years ago, I used to live near the ocean, and the last thing I did were go to the ocean. It's like funny. When you live near to the natural things and most of the people enjoy, it's like the human being behavior. You select the complete opposite. If you live in the beach, you go to the mountain. If you live in the mountain, you go to the beach. But now that I became a diver, I think I will appreciate if I can live near to the ocean.
Okay. Near the ocean. You don't need to say near to the ocean.
Okay.
Okay, but okay, that was interesting. All right, you got there. I didn't think you were going to get there. If you hear a would question, they are trying to give you the opportunity to form a higher level sentence construction, a conditional sentence. if I ever had the opportunity, I would love to live on the beach. Paraphrase the question. Say it in a different way. Don't say ocean, say beach. Say, instead of chance, say the opportunity. Change the question, paraphrase it, and use your conditional. I think Jean actually made 2 conditional sentences. They were slightly awkward, but you did it twice, actually. When they ask you a would question, and they will, that's your opportunity to gain some points, to climb the ladder. All right. The less thing I did, the thing I did least.
Okay.
Not the less thing I did. The thing I did least was go to the ocean. All right. Human being behavior. Okay, I think it's human behavior. All right, or it's natural human behavior. All right. A little awkward phrasing a couple times. I like your style and your approach, talking about yourself. I love the comparisons. If you do this, if you live near the ocean, you want to visit the mountains. If you live in the mountains, you want to visit the ocean. This kind of very natural style that's very native speaker like. Okay, so your approach is very good. You need to hone up your English if you plan on taking the IELTS test, but you've got the right idea to start out with, Jean. Okay? And an important thing to remember about IELTS, you don't do it because you're scared. You're down here on this level. You do it and you mess up. They reward you for trying. So your approach is going to reward you, Jean. It will. Even if you can actually have worse speaking English but get a higher score because you're trying to do that variety. They reward you for it. With an entire band score, they reward you. If you get it right half the time, then you're still another band score up. And if you actually get it right, that's how you climb the ladder in this IELTS scoring. So very good.
Thank you.
Yeah. I know what you mean, though. I used to live in New York City, so have I ever been to the Empire State Building? No. Have I ever been to the Statue of Liberty? No.
Yeah.
You never do things in your own city or where you live. It's crazy. Okay, I'm over time. I'm way over time. I've got to go. Thank you, guys. I hope you can join me tomorrow for part 2 of the IELTS test. We'll do more of the same, more practicing, and you guys will have a chance and feedback. Bye for now, guys. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.